Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Macaw Podcast universe. My name
Jordan.
is Micah. And hello. And here we are. And you might be thinking, this sounds a little bit different. And do you know why it sounds different? Jordan?
Because the curtains aren't closed?
No, it's because I am wearing a hat on today's episode, and I never wear hats when we record.
Yeah, they can totally tell.
Yeah, well, I just have a whole different energy. So much energy that I'm going to bring into
What, cool guy Mike?
Blue Beetle, the movie.
Okay.
So,
Remains to be heard.
remains to be beat. We are talking about the 14th installment in the DC extended
Wow,
universe.
14th?
Yes.
Wow, they had so many under their belt, and then they were like, nah.
Yeah. So, let's talk a little bit about it, right? We didn't have to see this movie in theaters.
Thankfully. You know what I did think with DC in general? James Gunn is at the helm now, and some other guy that
Peter
I can't-
Safran.
Yeah. It'll be great because it's James Gunn. And
I gotta take this hat off.
and I don't know much of anything about the other guy, but I know James Gunn.
Yes.
So it'll be great. But what if it's not?
I know.
They'll just they just need to throw in the towel at that point, right? Like this is their last hurrah. They're going all in.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, it's a good episode to talk about this because next week, today is my birthday, actually.
Happy birthday.
And,
You're the big 3-0.
please sign up for Patreon as a birthday present and
Micah
get us
has
to 50
been feeling
patrons.
extra old lately.
I really have.
So just, sign up for Patreon, give him a little boost, a little bit of energy.
Patreon.com/Micah
he could
McCaw.
use it.
Link is in the show notes.
You know one reason why you're so tired anymore though, right?
Because we have a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, that is true. But when my knees were sore from standing, I was a little bit concerned. But I did
But we've
do
never had to sway this much in our lives.
no, and I did do a 15-mile bike ride that day.
Yeah.
So
That'll
know.
do it.
yeah, so it's all of that in conjunction. But we're not here to talk about us aging, as sad as that is becoming. But yeah, so it's just interesting because if you don't know, folks, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is the last DCEU movie. And then it is relaunching in 2025, kicking off with Superman Legacy, directed by James Gunn, written by James Gunn, and it's supposed to be another shared universe. Now, I just think as an overview, as we kind of provide the death knell to DCEU, it started basically, from my estimation and looking back, it's like, whoa, Marvel's doing this shared universe thing. We also have these characters. We should do this. We're an older comic book company. We should do this, And so they attempted to do it. They rushed it. They didn't provide the foundation, and no one on the same level caught on. Sure, you have your people who are like, I love Zack Snyder. There's like that group of people, but it's not like the general consensus wasn't like, oh my gosh, Avengers, what a payoff.
Yep.
It wasn't that same sort of feeling. These did not feel like event films for the most part.
No, not at all. Except for maybe this new Aquaman movie.
I know.
For me and Micah.
I got high hopes on this thing. It's our other favorite James director, Juan, of course.
As opposed to what, James Cameron?
Gunn.
Oh,
James Cameron too. Yeah.
Big Jim.
All great at making spectacles. Some of the best spectacle filmmakers we have.
Yeah.
I mean, James Cameron, undeniably the best.
Probably the spectacle director.
Yeah.
He loves the color blue. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he loves water. But we're not talking about that. You can go to our Patreon to hear our episodes on that. But yeah, so it started like that. They kind of rushed it, had some success, had some failures. I'd say on the most part, like, general audience consensus was, this is meh.
This movie?
No.
DC.
DC.
Yeah.
I'm talking big overview.
Because I think that the resounding word on this movie is
meh.
no, silence, because no one saw it.
People saw it, kind of. We'll talk about it. But all of that to say, then like when the Batman came out and Joker came out, I thought that DC was going to go, you know what? Screw the shared universe. We'll just keep making like Wonder Woman movies because people like Gal Gadot, and we'll keep making Aquaman movies because people like James Wan, but we'll just, anyone can make whatever they want. And I think they are still doing that. Like Matt Reeves is still going to make his Batman movies.
There's still a Joker sequel coming out.
Yeah, there's still that. So like, and I think that's their strength actually.
Yeah.
But I'm still a little surprised that they're like, we're gonna do the shared universe thing still.
Maybe they look at all the money Marvel/Disney has made, and they're like, we just would be stupid not to try one more time.
Yeah, but
Although
the timing of this is rough.
I know, no, I know, I agree. Yeah, Micah is taking out his tea bag, and I am completely freaking out. I had no idea what to say. Oh my gosh, my heart is pounding.
But
oh, he's back.
It is kind of bad timing because I think if you were someone like the bad man himself, the owner of Warner Brothers, what's his name, Zaslav?
Yeah.
If you were him and you were seeing the box office receipts of the Marvels and seeing how people are not digging the Marvels, you might be like, hey, James Gunn, I'm not really interested in you making this shared universe anymore. Hopefully one of these days this guy will stop working there and they'll get an owner of a CEO of, any of these companies that actually likes movies. I think Jason Blum is the only producer that actually likes movies. So I'm covering for her. She's taken out the bag of tea. I'm freaking out right now. And she almost spilled.
Big splash.
Yeah, big splash.
The thematic for Aquaman.
A movie we're not talking about this week. But anyway, so this movie comes out. Last week we talked about The Flash.
I just want to say that the mugs that we're drinking out of, mine says Mrs. Wright. Micah says Mr. Wright.
Yes.
That's cute.
It is cute. But yeah, we talked about The Flash last week and how that's the funniest movie. And weirdly, it's sitting well in my memory. Not because it's good. But because it's so bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So this episode comes out on the day that Aquaman comes out. Oh, yeah, we always do a week later.
Yep.
That's what it is. Okay.
Yep. And we've been catching up on all our theatrical movies, like our Marvels and Ballad of Songbirds. Those were actually 2 weeks after the movie came out just because of the way things lined up. But now we're all caught up. And what's cool is Aquaman is the last episode of the year. And then we get to kick off the next year with brand new series.
You're going to be so excited for the first one.
I'm still wondering if we can.
I would be open to changing it.
But
I would like to do it someday. But I think that it would be wise for us to really dig our heels into something that we know would be good.
Well, we can discuss it at the end of this episode. How about that?
Okay. Because we'll need something to talk about.
So this was the next movie on the DC slate, Blue Beetle. And, of course, I'm going to be talking to you about how it was made and all that stuff. But this movie, I think, doesn't have a lot of big footprint. Mm-hmm. And I think this whole year we've just seen a lack of enthusiasm for superheroes, except for Guardians of the Galaxy and Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
But both of those movies happen to be excellent even beyond their genre.
Yes.
So I think audiences, when I finish this movie, I think this movie is so okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
Getting worked up about it would be a mistake. Getting excited about it seems like a mistake.
Yeah.
But if this came out even 3 years ago, I think it'd be a big hit.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not 3 years ago because that's COVID. But if this came out in 2019, people would have seen this movie and been like, "Oh my gosh, I love it."
Yeah.
Because there was this moment in time where the reason people weren't liking the DC movies, a lot of them, was because they were poorly structured movies. And this has Act 1, Act 2, Act 3.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's a
They're
cohesive
doing the
story.
bare minimum. Truly.
Yeah. What is Gilmore doing? Gilmore.
I think he's just licking his paws.
Okay.
And he happens to be hitting the changing table.
Oh, okay.
This movie is got to be the most mediocre superhero movie I've ever seen because of all that we've had before.
Yeah.
And I do agree with you on if this movie had come out earlier, years earlier, we'd be maybe saying something different about it.
This movie didn't make as much money as Black Adam, I don't believe. But if this movie came out earlier, it totally would have made way more money than Black Adam.
Yeah, there is stuff to like in this movie.
I actually think there's a good amount of stuff.
It's kind of like the Marvels, where it's this movie didn't offend me with how bad it was or anything.
Yeah,
it's just it was a movie. I watched it. Will I forget about it after we're done recording? Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no imprint to me on this movie except for George Lopez was amazing.
Yeah, let me get into the people because I feel like getting it over with.
Okay.
Jaime Reyes, Blue Beetle, is played by Zolo Maridueña.
Okay.
Maridueña. He is also in Parenthood, Cobra Kai.
I think he got this gig off of Cobra Kai.
Oh, interesting. He's done voice acting and like bat wheels, but they look like cars. How does that work? Look at the poster.
I don't know
They
what
look
you're
like
talking
they look
about.
like cars, like Pixar cars, but it's Batman.
Coming this fall to HBO Max. Yeah, they're Batman cars.
That looks like Lightning McQueen. Anyway, he's done some voice acting too, but he's rising.
Yeah.
Let's see how old he is.
As Bane would say, rise.
2001. Woof.
Oh man.
Bruna Marquezine is played by Jenny Core, or is Jenny Core? She
Played
plays
by
Jenny
Jenny
Core. She is in Women in Love, God Save the King, but that looks not English.
Okay.
Maldivas and other stuff. Not a lot though. Who's that? Oh, that's the voice of Kajida.
Okay, who is this?
Becky G.
Becky G.
She's an American singer and actress. She is also in Power Rangers, the yellow one. And others. She's a singer, so mostly does stuff like that.
You couldn't be less enthused to be talking about these actors. You're bringing nothing.
Damien Alcazar plays Alberto Reyes, the dad. He's in The Chronicles of Narnia. Prince Caspian.
Really?
Lord Sopespian. Don't remember that, but I've only seen that movie once.
Okay.
Hell. Chronicas.
He's in Hell?
He is in Hell. So, despite what the movie shows us. Adriana.
Wait, is it really something just called Hell?
Yeah, but it's in Spanish.
Okay. Well, what is it in Spanish?
El Inferno. El Infierno.
Okay. That
Hell.
seems like a better title than just Hell.
That's what it translated it to. Yeah. Adriana Barraza plays Nana Reyes, the grandma. She was very fun.
Yeah.
She's in Drag Me to Hell.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
is she at the beginning?
No, she's the lady that performs the ritual.
Oh, okay.
Wow, she looked a lot different.
Yeah.
But that's like Drag Me to Hell is 2009.
Yeah, so.
But we just saw her.
Yeah.
Because Mike and I just watched that movie for the first time.
Total ripper.
I don't know.
It's a total ripper.
I don't think so.
She's crazy. They kill an animal in it.
They kill a cat. I said ahead of time, I said, if they kill that cat, I won't like this movie.
Yeah.
And what do? They kill the kitten.
It's sort of funny, though. It's that Sam Raimi funny. I like it.
No. Also...
It rips, guys.
I'm sure
this movie
there
slaps.
are people listening who are like, oh my gosh, Drag Me to Hell. I love that movie. My expectations were very skewed, I will admit. Because this movie came out in 2009. I was a freshman in high school. And I think based on trailers, it looked really scary. And I was kind of always scared of this movie. But, Sam Raimi. And we were like, finally, it's spooky season. Let's just watch it. Finally. Did not know it was a Sam Raimi horror movie.
Yeah, this movie is campy.
It is campy to the max. So,
which is what I actually kind of like the experience of. I was expecting like a really scary movie, and then there's a scene pretty early on when the woman this woman is attacking our protagonist, and she
is gumming her. Oh my god!
And then I was like, oh, this is like Evil Dead. Like we're supposed to be laughing.
It's making me sick thinking about that.
Yeah, and there's a great goat in this movie.
There's a great goat.
Top tier
there
goat.
Are elements I liked, but they killed that kitten, so I can't like it.
So you don't like John Wick either?
It's different. No, they're different things. They're different things to me.
I love it. Drag Me to Hell rules.
Okay, but Adriana Barraza is also in Babel, Thor. Oh, she's in Thor.
Okay.
Spanglish and stuff. Belisa Escobedo plays Malaga Reyes, the sister.
Okay.
She's also in Hocus Pocus 2.
Hocus Pocus.
Don't Look Deeper, Sex Appeal, Sid is Dead, blah, blah, blah. Mom, Elpidia Carrillo is also in Salvador, Predator. She's in Predator.
Cool.
9 Lives, Predator 2, and other stuff. And Susan Sarandon is in this movie. I don't really care.
Can you just list what she's in, though?
She's in Rocky Horror. She's in Stepmom, Dead Man Walking, Thelma and Louise, The Client.
Okay.
Right? She is in Rocky Horror. I just want to confirm. I don't want to.
Never seen it, so I do not know.
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
Okay.
She plays Tim Curry.
Yeah, she does play Tim Curry. And then she plays Tim Curry in drag.
Yeah. Really transformative performance.
Raul Max Trujillo plays Carapax, the like big bad guy.
Yeah.
He is also in Riddick.
Ah, yes. I've heard there are some chronicles about that guy.
Apparently so. Apocalypto, The New World, and stuff.
You want to know something funny, Jordan, about Riddick? So I was kind of working on the schedule for next year. I was putting in the series you chose, and then I was filling in stuff up to like May, you know, and I was just having fun filling out the calendar. And I was like, you know what? Putting the Chronicles of Riddick in. And then when we watched, I think, the third one, Underworld movie, I deleted all of them. And I was like, I'm not doing this.
That's fair. That's so fair.
I still think we'll cover it at some point. Yeah. But I can't do...
It's only 3, right?
There's 4 or 5.
Oh, what?
I think there's 4. There's 4.
Okay.
So it's just like, no, I'm not doing this to myself.
That's fair.
Like, I just need some good series or stuff that's, like, interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
And maybe it is, because I haven't seen them. But
also no one talks about them. Yeah. So they might not have much.
Right. Could be a classic Underworld.
Harvey Guillen plays Dr. Sanchez. Very fun to see in this movie. I feel like he was completely wasted. He wasn't wasted.
He was drunk on set all the time.
Okay, yeah, he was wasted. No, it was just a bummer. He had nothing to do, and I'm almost wondering if stuff was cut with him.
That, I think for someone who has a successful sitcom on TV, because he's from What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
I think this performance totally tracks for me on what, like, making the leap from sitcom to movie.
I just think I agree with you. However, I think this role should have been had a little bit more to it. And I think maybe a better writer would make it a little bit funnier.
Sure.
And a little bit has more to do. Because even when he has his big moment, it's like, you were barely in the movie leading up to this. So I don't really care.
It is very classic, that character. And because there's really the thing that is unique about this movie is the family and like Latino angle. Is that the right phrase for this group of people?
They're a Mexican family.
Yeah, I guess they are specifically Mexican. I think in the Wikipedia I was reading about them and they use that word quite a bit.
Okay.
So if I misspoke there, I'm not at all trying to be offensive in any way. But yeah, they're a Mexican family and showing their relationship and how their family works and stuff. That's what makes this movie unique. Nothing else. And I mean nothing else about this movie is unique. So
I would even argue that the family dynamic is not as unique as you even think it is, because by now we've had a lot of family superhero movies about family. Yeah. And this one, that again, the family stuff also just felt very mediocre to me. There were things to like, for sure, but I do think the family stuff was the best part of the movie. Yeah. But it's not, I'm not like freaking out about it. Yeah. It was fine.
Well, and I think that this is the first, like, again, I think this is the correct phrase. I apologize if I'm incorrect, but I think this is the first, like, Latino superhero that's been the lead of a movie ever.
Do you know if Blue Beetle is, like, the character has always been?
I don't know anything about Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Okay. Not even a thing.
That was another thing I was curious about. Like, do people care that Blue Beetle finally got a movie?
I mean, I think there's fans, but I mean, it's not like the Flash level. You know what I mean? It's I remember that someone messaged me on Instagram like a year ago and was like, "Look, there's like photos from Blue Beetle," and I was like, "I've never even heard of this character. I don't know who this is." Which is not to say that doesn't mean it's not good. Yeah, it's not a good.
Funny note about the Harvey Guillen character. In this movie, as well as in What We Do in the Shadows, his last name is De La Cruz.
Yeah, yep, that was kind of funny.
Fun fact. He's in other stuff, but
I'm happy to say they do say one of the writers says that they wanted to show the Latino family at its core. So I am using the correct terminology because I don't want to just throw around the wrong thing and someone's listening and like, you're so out of touch, you know? Yeah. But yeah, go ahead.
But in this point in time, if you've not seen What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, you are doing yourself a disservice.
We have an episode on it very early on.
Correct that now and then watch the show because it's great.
And sign up for Patreon and listen to our episode on it. Yes. Although that was when we were just starting to do bonus episodes, so it potentially is rough. I don't know.
I don't know.
But our episodes now are great, except Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
I'm blown past it.
Maybe you know what? The episode's probably still good, but boy, that was a tough movie.
Then we have George Lopez.
Yeah.
Save the best for last. George Lopez, guys. Anyone seen the George Lopez show? Watch it on Nick at Night like me. I love that show so much. And he's also in Shark Boy and Lava Girl. I really, really thought that this was going to be they got George Lopez, but he's going to be really annoying or do so little in this movie.
Yeah.
He was the funniest part of this movie.
He did great.
He was so funny.
He was the best. I mean, it was truly, I never watched George Lopez, and what I saw at the time was not like something that made me watch it.
Yeah.
This performance made me like, oh, I bet that show's pretty dang funny, and I should watch it next time we're in a hotel.
Yeah. That's the best context.
Right. Because that's what you do. When you're in a hotel, you watch, I hate to say it because of the controversial slap, but you watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, or you watch George Lopez. Those are the two shows that are always on.
Remember when we were watching Fresh Prince in the hotel at one time, and then it switched to the Jamie Foxx show, and I didn't even know he had a show.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
It was really bad.
Dang, it was
like
bad.
quality-wise.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yeah. Okay, so this movie is directed by Angel Manuel Soto, who did this movie called Charm City Kings. It's written by Gareth Donay Alcocer, who did Miss Bala. The cinematography, now I said I had a couple of things to throw at you that were pretty fascinating. The cinematography is by Paweł Porgazelski, who is the cinematographer for a little horror director known as Ari Aster.
That's interesting.
And once I found that out, because we had to stop this movie halfway through and watch it over 2 nights, I did notice that the cinematography was actually somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
It could have been maybe a little bit more, but I think it's particularly the fights were shot
the
way
fights...
better than most are.
Yes. Yeah.
And there were certain things where it was like, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And then we have music by Bobby Krillick, who is known by his British composer, artist, music producer, and musician name, The Haxon Cloak.
I don't know what that is. And
he did a movie called Midsommar.
Oh. So Ari Aster directed this?
This is Ari Aster's 4th movie. No.
That's why I feel existential dread while watching it.
So funny enough, the score to this movie starts. Now, if you recall on our Patreon-only episode, The Batman, Michael Giacchino has a score where he goes, dun, 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 dun. And when I first heard that, I was like, that is the Imperial March from Star Wars. Dun, dun, dun.
Famously,
dun,
the
dun,
song
dun.
that we chose as a senior class to walk into during graduation.
Famously, huh?
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, remember we chose that?
Yeah, I don't remember that, but
or we wanted to.
So then dun 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 dun. There, I'm forgetting right now because the movie, but there's in this movie, there's the next line.
Yeah.
That goes over dun 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 or something that.
Yeah.
That repeats over and over. And this one I actually think is less rip-offy than that one.
Yeah.
Although since watching the movie, you find out that it's actually riffing on the Nirvana song, The Batman. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
It's a movie that needs that melody in it about 60% less.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I'm scared that Batman 2 is going to have that all the time. But all that to say, it was just funny that we had 2 movies in 2 years that did the Imperial March. And if you slap them together, you would create the John Williams Imperial March. So,
yep.
Just had to point that out. But yeah, he was... he's also worked with Atticus Ross on Michael Mann's film Black Hat.
What's that? Have you seen it?
I haven't. It's a movie about hacking.
Not about black hats?
Yeah, that's what they are. Hackers and stuff. Black hats and white hats.
What? What are you talking about?
That's a term.
What's a white hat?
I don't know. I don't know what the terms mean, but it has something to do with
no black
hacking.
hats anywhere.
Well, what are you talking? Are you talking about literally a black hat?
Yeah.
I don't think so. It's like a hacking term or
Not
something.
interested.
I
want something called black hats. I want the amount that there are in Prestige.
But Jordan, could you please, for this time, could you just remember that that's what Black Hat is about, so that the next time I mention Black Hat,
Munich situation,
because every time you're like, "What's that movie about?" and it's killing me
Do I do that about Black Hat?
every single time. It's like you just truly don't know that
I
it
won't know
exists.
until I watch it, because that's what happened with Munich.
But you don't want to watch it, so that
That's not true. When have I ever said
you
that?
just said I don't want to watch
I'm
it.
joking, because it's not about black hats.
All right, so this movie comes out August 18th, 2023. It has a $120 million budget. In the U.S., it makes $72 million, and worldwide, it makes $128.
Ew, that's not very much.
So that's a bomb. They started working on this movie in 2018, and in 2020, Max says, and this is before, what's his name? Zaslav was in charge. The previous guy says, we're going to be having like DC movies that will have smaller budgets that will premiere on Max. Well, HBO Max at the time. And this was going to be the second or third one, because for second, because Batgirl was going to be on there. So it was like just going to go straight there. And then in 2021 of December, they were like, nope, we're putting it in theaters.
But not Batgirl.
Not Batgirl. They scrapped that. By all accounts, that is a terrible movie. It's part of why they threw it away. Yeah.
They never even dumped it.
They have a joke on BO Boys when they talk about it. And this is true. They mention, what's the comedian's name who's in The Nutty Professor?
Eddie Murphy?
No, the old Nutty Professor. And he's also in the comedy, The King of Comedy. Jerry
Lewis.
Jerry Lewis. They always mention that Batgirl's in the vault where they keep the Jerry Lewis Holocaust clown movie.
That real?
And I've heard of that. I don't know anything about it.
But
I
isn't
forgot.
that kind of what Life is Beautiful is about? Isn't that guy a clown?
Well, I don't know.
That movie's great.
There's a Jerry Lewis Holocaust clown movie.
But I'm asking you, wasn't that guy a clown in Life is Beautiful?
I don't know if he was.
He was like an entertainer.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Anyway.
But anyway.
That's funny. Funny joke.
Yeah. So Soto did not want the film to be. I just want to see if this resonates with you, with your experience. He said, I didn't want this movie to be, quote, another story where 15 minutes in, something happens, and 50 minutes later, he's dominating the experience, and by the end, he's saving the world. And instead wanted to explore his growth, saying that he's not going to save the world yet. He doesn't deserve to yet. Is that your experience with this movie? It wasn't.
Who said that?
I believe that's the director of the movie.
I mean, he doesn't save the world. He doesn't need to. I don't think that's weird to say he doesn't deserve to.
I just think it's funny that he's like, I don't want this to be another story where this, and I'm like, this is the same template that they established in Spider-Man.
This is the most mediocre movie ever.
Yeah. And again, I'm not mad about it. I think it's a waste of breath to get mad about the movie. And then here's this an extremely confusing thing. I love James Gunn, of course. I think the way that he's talked about the DC and the DC going forward is like, I have no idea what he's talking about. It's like another language.
Okay.
So I'm just going to read this verbatim from Wikipedia. In January 2023, Gunn said that the film was disconnected from previous DCEU entries and could connect to the DCU. By that April, the Blue Beetle character was reportedly part of Gunn and Safran's plan for the DCU. In June, Gunn said Blue Beetle would be the first DCU character, while noting Superman Legacy is the first DCU film.
Oh my gosh.
Later that month, Soto said Blue Beetle was part of the DCU and future plans for the franchise, but was not connected to all prior DCEU films.
This is like a Who's on First
No. Explaining the film lives in the world where superheroes exist, but that doesn't mean that a certain event or certain alliance or certain things from the past dictate where a film is going. He also expressed interest in the film being the first part of a trilogy. In September, Gunn reiterated that Mara Dueña would continue playing the role of Jaime Reyes, Blue Beetle, in the DCU, though the film itself and other DC films and TV series released before Creature Commandos in 2024 would not be canon to the DCU.
I don't know a word you just said.
So
is it canon or is it not?
It sounds like they really want to keep the actor as Blue Beetle.
Sure. But they will kind of disregard this movie or just maybe not even acknowledge it.
That's what it kind of sounds
like.
like.
I think it's pretty easy not to. It's just an origin story.
But there was a mid-credit scene for some reason.
Yeah, who cares?
I just think it's so wild to me that they had a mid-credit scene for this movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought that's hilarious because it's like I read that and I'm like, oh, now I'm less sure about where this movie is or what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I have less information than before I read this paragraph. And that's what I got
Okay.
on the notes. Do you want to jump into the movie?
Yeah.
Is she still sleeping?
Yeah.
Should we just keep going?
Yeah.
If we're able to pull off this episode before she wakes up, this will be the first time it's ever happened since she's been born that we've recorded a full one. But we're only 20 minutes in, so.
Ooh, I wish we were longer.
So this movie begins with Guillermo, is how I'm going to refer to him from What We Do in the Shadows, and Susan Sarandon, and they found...
His name's Harvey.
Oh, yeah. They found the scarab. Okay. We're
Susan
off to the
Sarandon
races.
You replace her with anybody else, it is fine.
That's... Again, I
think that's what the script called for. It's not a unique script, even.
Right. I hope that this is a fun episode to listen to, but I kind of don't have, like, critiques of this movie, and I have, like, faint praise, because it just, like, it purely exists.
Yeah.
It's like you went to Taco Bell and you got a taco. Tastes good. You like it. You got to get a taco.
Why are you saying Taco Bell?
You got to get a Taco Bell. Maybe that's a bad example, because I do have a special spot for Taco Bell.
Okay. I'm just saying, don't be rude about the movie by using Taco Bell as an example.
No, it's just because that's the only fast food place we go to. Okay. That's why I mention it. So I'll rephrase it, because I actually like Taco Bell a little too much for that. I thought I was emphasizing it weird, and that's why you were pointing it out. So it's like if you went to McDonald's and you get a Big Mac, you know what that's going to taste like. Everywhere in the world, you can get a Big Mac. It's going to taste the same. And that's what a Big Mac is. And sometimes you just need a Big Mac. And so you get a Big Mac, whatever. But no, I was only bringing up Taco Bell because that's the only fast food place that Jordan and I go to. And In-N-Out. We go to In-N-Out as well.
Yeah.
And Chick-fil-A every once in a while.
I can't remember the last time I went.
Yeah, it's been a long time for me too. But
what's happening here? I
got to kind of take off my sweatshirt because I'm starting to get hot. You really put my feet to the fire on this episode.
Yeah, I got you sweaty. It's like that sunny episode. Is it getting hot in here?
Pressure's on, or heat is on, or whatever. So they find the scarab. Okay, here we go.
Why is the scarab in a giant sphere?
Because it's an alien, of course.
So it came to them, but
it came from
someone's already had it.
No, I don't think so.
Unless it's a different scarab, more than one people right?
No, I don't think so. Oh, crap. I'd have no idea about that.
Yeah. But also, don't care.
Yeah.
So they're setting up that, and then we meet Jaime, who is home from college in Palmera City.
Yeah, which is, in fact, fictional. You were correct.
Okay. So he comes home.
And made up for the movie. It's not a comic book city.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why?
Probably because they wanted to make this story like kind of about like class and stuff, and just wanted to make sense.
And not base it on anything.
I don't know.
That seems a little weird.
I don't know.
Because it very much feels like, they're in Miami or something. They're in Florida. Whatever. So Palmera City. And we are introduced to his family. They're a family.
They're charming. They're fun.
Charming. They're fun. George Lopez is really funny.
I like his design. I like how he's got this big long beard.
And the gross long hair.
Yeah.
And his sister, I thought, was not very good. The character, I did not like.
I think the actor did fine.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm getting a little tired of, and it's always specifically a girl that is like the brother or the friend. That, not to say that girls can't be irreverent and the friend, but it just feels like there's a certain mode. I mean, it's the same thing in Insidious Chapter 5, which we liked, where it's like you have the friend that's like, oh, I'm gonna go do this like prank because I don't care about stuff and I'm kind of cool that way because I'm apathetic.
Yeah.
And like in this movie, she's like, I'm gonna go poop in their bathroom. How cool is that? And it's like, okay. I just have seen this characterization so many times.
Yeah. So I just didn't care for the performance.
Yeah.
But we find out that...
But having said that, I've seen a heroic man about 1 billion times. But that's also kind of annoying now at this point, too.
It all is kind of annoying at this point. Everything's kind of annoying at this point.
I'm just saying it's not a girl thing. It's not like... I'm really
getting a little bit hotter for you over there. I see you're starting to sweat.
The heat is on.
I don't I was gonna keep going.
All right. That's all good, right?
I think it's funny.
Yeah, okay.
Jaime, we learned that Jaime learns that his father that they're losing the house.
Yeah.
And his father has had a heart attack since he's been gone. And they didn't want to worry with him with any of this. He's the first college graduate in their family. They really want him to, forge his own path and continue to excel.
I think if they had to put it in a sentence, they want him to become the Blue Beetle. Right? This early on.
Sure. Because they know what that is.
Yeah. And so he has he's got this college degree, and like a lot of college grads, you're like
can't get a job.
Can't get a job. So he's busy scraping gum off of this woman's pool set. Now, I just don't know. I don't know why you need like 60 maids at your house.
I think it's a resort. Is it her house?
I think it is her house. Was the impression I
assumed
got.
that it was. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, you're right.
I was just like, you need like 3 or 4 at the most. But anyway.
I don't know. She's a cord.
Oh, that's so true. Those damn cords. So we find out that Jennifer Cord, she's more like hip, and she doesn't like where this company's headed. And Madam Cord is all like, guess what? I like war and stuff.
So
and we're gonna work on the Omnicron or something like that.
Onomicron. Percy I-8.
Omicron.
She really wants to be like a Stark and create military grade things.
Yeah.
And she's like such a Tony and is like, you know what? I realize this is bad.
Yeah. So, Jaime overhears this, and he's all like,
Jaime.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. I think they say Jaime.
Jaime. Okay, I'm thinking.
Right.
Yeah, Jaime. Yeah, I think you're right.
But it's Jamie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. They specifically point out that it's not Jamie.
Yeah.
But
it's spelled.
I think that I feel like what's his name? Eric Wareheim, I think, refers to himself as Jaime. So I think I may
you're right.
say that, and that's probably why you were laughing, because your brain subconsciously is like Jaime.
Yeah.
So he, pops out from behind the shelves, and he's like, "You shouldn't be mean to this girl." And in which case he secures, in a way, a job interview and fate.
As well as a job lost.
Yes.
He gets fired from this job. But Jennifer's like, come tomorrow and we'll discuss your future. I guess he graduated from pre-law.
Yeah. Which, is kind of funny because they're like, oh, maybe he can practice be a pre-lawyer there and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's kind of funny-ish.
Yeah.
Ish.
Very middle of the road funny.
Yeah. This movie's out there. It's out there. So what happens next is hard to tell. Some thought it was heaven, others thought it was hell. But the fact that something was among us was plain to see.
What song is that?
I think it's actually a comedy song by Ray Stevens.
I
think it's The Streak. It's about a streaker.
Ray Stevens.
He is a comedy singer, performer.
Okay.
Kind of like a pre-Weird Al.
Okay.
And yeah, he's got this song about
I don't know.
this.
Weird Al's been around for a really long time.
No, this is pre-Weird Al.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not as good as Weird Al,
Yeah.
but he has a song about this guy that keeps streaking everywhere. Oh yes, they call him the Streak. He likes to show off his physique.
Okay. Okay. So, the next day we see that they have the scarab, in the science lab, and they're doing stuff to it to get it ready to be military stuff. Funny movie thing. It's funny that this like priceless, unattainable scarab that they have worked so hard to get is just sitting right out in the open for anyone to snatch.
Yep.
There's no security precaution. Yeah, she steals his key card, but that's all she needed to get in.
And beyond that, she like wears a disguise to get in, and then she takes off the disguise and grabs it, and then no one knows who took the scarab, and it's
How
like,
does he get back in if she took his key card?
Good point.
Okay.
But also funny, it's just like, so are you saying that there's no cameras in this room? Like,
yeah,
we would all know that she stole it.
Yeah.
So she steals the scarab.
Puts it in a...
I like to refer to it as a beetle.
Is it blue?
It's blue. I like to call it a blue beetle.
She puts it in the burger box.
Yeah.
And then she's trying to run out with it.
Yep.
Runs into Jaime, who is, like, oh, give me a job, give me a job, give me a job. And she's like, you want a job? Take this.
Guard it with your
Don't
life.
open it. Don't look at it. Don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And get out of my sight.
So then he goes home. They lock. Oh, the mic just took a jump. It literally looked like it jumped at you.
Blue Beetle.
So then
we're gonna be done talking about this movie in 10 minutes. If we're lucky.
I know, seriously. So he gets home, he's got the Blue Beetle, and his family's like, open it. And he goes, she said not to. And then they're like, come on, open it. That's kind of fun. They're like pressuring him, and he opens it, and this beetle comes out, and it grabs a hold of him. And I think it does go up his butt.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, they heavily imply it, and later he says it doesn't, but it's only around Jen that he says that,
Okay.
And so the beetle's taken over, and
this is a pretty terrifying thing. Think about it. If you think about it, this is a terrifying whatever this thing superhero is. So yeah, they say later on, like, it chooses the host. So it chose him, and it like they find out later, like, it is an alien thing, and it takes over its host.
So here's something I do kind of have a problem with, just on a very base level here, is when you think about like the Spider-Man symbiote, it's like an actual alien.
Yeah.
And it covers the body, and it looks strange, and it does look like a suit, but it doesn't look like a mech suit.
Yeah. Okay. So
it's like kind of fluid and interesting. And this is something I don't know. I've never read a Blue Beetle comic. I don't know anything about it, but it just feels like, so if this is an alien, it's an alien that has like an AI built into it, which is weird.
Or
so
the aliens created this.
That's
AI.
what I think is what happened, and then it just creates something that's like kind of. I mean, I think the costume actually looks good.
Yeah, it's cool.
And it's mostly practical, which I liked. It was nice seeing someone actually wearing a costume in a superhero movie, but it just felt a little like that's it. This thing is like in his body, and it's like grafted to him. It's taking over its cells, and it just looks like a Power Ranger outfit.
Yeah.
That's just kind of like, it feels like the imagination is stopping early there.
Yeah, and then I'm also curious, so, obviously at a certain point, he, like, accepts this thing that has chosen him or whatever.
Yeah.
So once they, like, basically merge and, like, are both accepting of each other, will it someday still kill him?
Well, no, I think it...
Or are they just living in harmony?
They'll just live together, yeah.
I'm looking up early Blue Beetle.
Oh, just seeing what it looks like.
I mean, it looks pretty dumb early.
Yeah,
early iterations, but they all kind of look dumb.
Yeah, well, not so much. Not so much.
Doesn't even look like a beetle.
Oh.
How disappointing.
Okay.
Just a guy in a blue suit.
I would imagine that's newish, right? Wouldn't you think that, like, originally it's just like,
oh, yeah.
Look, it's Blue Beetle, the crime fighter. He's dressed as a beetle. And that's it.
Yeah.
I bet that's what it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I wrote the transformation with the family is fun.
It's fun, and it is scary. I will say, like, when he's hung up from a ceiling, from the ceiling, and he's just dangling there. It's like Ari Aster directed this scene.
Oh, ha, ha, ha.
But yeah, the family was very funny.
And you know what? I do like, this is kind of fresh and fun, except for the fact that, like, identities aren't as important as they used to be in both in comics and in movies.
You mean like a secret identity?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is fun that, like, the minute you became a superhero, your entire family was there. So there's no, like, hiding it from them.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That would be, I feel like that would be really refreshing if we lived in a time where not every superhero knew who every superhero was.
Yeah.
But we do live in that time.
Yeah.
And the comics are like that too. It's like, who doesn't know who Peter Parker is at this point?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Lopez faints when they take his truck.
It was really funny.
That was a funny faint. That was good.
Yeah.
This George Lopez show might be good. Maybe I need
Probably
to binge
not,
it.
But binge it?
Binge Lopez. Low rider gets a little lower. Remember, that was the theme song.
Was it?
Yeah. And they were jumping on the trampoline.
Oh, I remember the trampoline. Okay.
So what
So he
happens
turns into
next?
Blue Beetle and he's like, what the F's going on? And then the girl catches up with him and is like, where's the beetle? And then they have to go break back into the Cord Industries or whatever it's called to get a key that they need. That's when the truck comes in.
And all this stuff could be kind of fun, but it's like
It's just so by the numbers.
yeah, and I feel like at least Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man 1 and probably Amazing Spider-Man and a bunch of other movies, it's like, all right, let's test out the powers, or like, I don't understand how this works, and then a bunch of, mischievous things happen, and that's what happens in this. And it's like, okay, I know.
Yeah.
I know where this is going.
It's almost like it's so mediocre and I have so little attachment to this. I don't really like need it to be anything different.
Yeah.
It's also like at a phase of DC where how could anyone care about it? They're telling us to stop caring about it.
Yeah.
But it is like I think they could have done a way better job of showing the struggle of like he just finished college, like he's supposed to start his life and now he can't, and there's really no struggle there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, there's really no struggle there. And then
he's trying to get that job, and they do wind up losing the house and stuff.
and I know that there's a moment where he does freak out where he is like, I was supposed to do blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And now it's not happening. But I just think it just wasn't, it was just written so predictably.
I do feel like if this came out on HBO Max as a direct to movie, you'd be like, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
But as a theater movie, like, no, this is a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like a real movie.
Yeah. And so they get the key that they need and then go to this mansion.
And it's her dad's. And guess what? He used to be the Blue Beetle.
Oh, no, apparently he wasn't Blue Beetle.
Oh,
that's what I was confused about. I think she said that her dad was obsessed with being Blue Beetle, but it never chose him. So he just basically was like created tech to be a crime fighter.
Oh, okay.
But he was never.
Which is probably like the first iteration of Blue Beetle, I bet.
I bet. And I bet one of those costumes and one of those mannequins is the original.
Yeah.
But then later on, Lopez does some research and he finds out this guy named Garrett something was the last Blue Beetle. Like the last thing that
that's right.
Kajika or whatever it's called, like chose. And that's how he learns like the only way that he stopped being the Blue Beetle was by dying.
Yeah.
Because it killed him.
Yeah.
So that's the situation. And so then we learn that Jennifer's dad was like, this is what he did. I guess he was kind of like a vigilante.
Yeah.
And one day he never came home. And then her mom died when she was 6. And that's kind of it.
Yep. They almost kiss, but Lopez walks in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
let's get to the best part of the movie.
The family getting attacked?
Yeah. What? No, that's not the best part of the movie.
Okay,
so does that happen next?
Well, I don't know. What's the best part?
When they get in the Blue Beetle.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's still some stuff to go.
Okay, well, then Cord is like, oh, we know that this kid has it, so let's go to his house. And then they attack the family.
Yeah.
And the dad has a heart attack and dies.
Yeah.
Okay. What?
It's just funny that neither of us have really anything to say about the like a pretty pivotal scene. We're just like, okay.
Yeah, you laughed about it for some reason, which felt not like it makes sense.
Wow, is it getting hot in here?
He has a heart attack and you just start laughing.
No. I mean, you were right when you corrected it, but it was kind of funny that like earlier in the movie they're like he had a heart attack, and then it's like, oh yeah, of course he has a heart attack right now. like it just kind of felt like they wrote that scene so that they could have this scene,
and it could not be that out of left field.
Yeah, but then I think of the alternative where he just has a heart attack, and that's funnier. So I don't know.
Whatever. So they lose their dad, and then Jaime gets kidnapped by Susan Sarandon.
Yes,
and company.
You may know it from Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, and so the family's like, we have to band together. I do like this where the grandma's like, it is not time to cry.
I actually thought that was great. Yeah,
to go get Jaime.
Yeah.
So Jennifer's like, I think I can help. So they get into this thing that is a Blue Beetle, this little ship.
And we hear Whoa, yeah, kick down my heart, do that.
There's a lot of like weapons that they can choose from. We find out that the grandma definitely was like a revolutionist in Mexico at
and
one
that's
point,
funny. That's
which was
really
funny. But yeah, the driving around of the Blue Beetle was funny, and it also was like, how does George Lopez know how to fly this thing? This thing's not of this. It no one's been able to fly this thing but the one dude who built it.
Yeah.
Like, he's just doing it. Whatever. I don't care. He's just intuitive, I guess.
So I gotta take a quick sidebar about Motley Crue.
Okay.
Because that's the song that's playing, Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue. When I was younger, I was very into Motley Crue. Would listen to the songs. If I got an Apple iTunes, I might buy Kickstart My Heart or Girls, Girls, Girls or something like that. And I think as I've gotten older, it's like, oh, Motley Crue, oh, brother. And when that song kicked on, I'm like, I can't deny it. I like Motley Crue. I like a lot of their music, and I'm confessing that.
Wow. To everyone here and now.
And it was a good needle drop. I liked the needle drop.
Yeah.
And this scene was fun.
It was fun.
I did think it was pretty cool that they were like running around in this giant beetle smashing people.
I liked how it moved. I think it looked good.
Yeah, that was like, man, this is the movie. Hey, get rid of this Blue Beetle character. Add this thing.
This is the Blue Beetle I want.
just George Lopez driving this thing around. That I'm into.
So yeah, they're like at this fortress doing all of this. Yeah, it was great. And then they get out of the Blue Beetle and are starting to go around to try and find Jaime.
Yeah.
And this is when we find out that Susan Sarandon's gonna like basically upload his Blue Beetle stuff into the other guy.
Yeah.
Which she does.
And another side note that I want to say, I'm done with this. I'm absolutely done. It is time that we stop and heroes need to have real masks from here on out. I am so sick of masks that they don't really have that go on and off and just like digitally go on and off.
We need to bring back that being a superhero is physically there are some just physical inconveniences about being a superhero. You have a helmet, you take it off, you got to carry it around just like someone riding a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Just do it.
I am sick of it. It's so uncinematic and it's so boring to look at. And when I like saw it happen in this movie, I was like,
it'll never go away though, Micah, because you're never going to have an actor who the reason why they got him was for his face, rip off his own mask to like, I'm here to now defeat you. No, but will never do that.
No, they can still do whatever. All I'm saying is they just need to, when they have scenes where they take it on and off, they just need to cut and put on a real cloth mask that they take off. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
They did it with Toby.
Yeah.
Toby's like bigger than most of the actors who have been in Marvel movies
huge.
and stuff.
He's like really big. It's like huge.
But yeah, I'm like so sick of it. It blows my mind how sick of it I am.
Yeah. Wow, it blows your own mind.
it really does. Like when
you're blowing your own mind by how sick you are of it.
It's just when I saw it, I was just like, oh my gosh, we have to be done with this.
Yeah.
It's so boring.
Yeah. Much like this movie.
This movie's not even boring.
It's kind of boring.
But it's just I almost wish it was either more of anything, kind of.
Yeah.
So that I could take a stance. But
yeah. I mean, I'm on your team. And then in this scene, Guillermo says to Susan Sarandon, "I am no man," and like lets Jaime go, and he gets killed. And then he reunites with some of his family, meets up with his grandma. By this time, he's still trying. Oh, I guess we glossed over. He basically went into the spiritual realm. And
I did kind of like that. I did like the candle area. That was interesting.
Candle in the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do like where his dad's like, this. I now know what my purpose was. It's to be here right now, with you, to tell you that this is your purpose.
And then he's got to go swim to the cosmic Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
And then he becomes it and can like break out.
Yeah. And that's when they like become one.
Yeah.
But so he's trying to activate the Blue Beetle, but it's like recalibrating.
Yeah.
So then he meets up with his grandma who has this like giant machine gun thing that shoots color bullets, which I thought was a fun touch.
Yeah, that is fun.
And she was.
It is so really funny that Blue Beetle makes a distinct decision throughout the movie that he will not kill. and everyone in his family kills people.
Yeah.
And everybody just kills anybody.
Yeah.
I think
And even at the point later on in the movie where he wants to kill that guy, and Blue Beetle, Kaji, whatever, is like,
don't do it.
We don't kill.
And it's just so funny because it's like, so he's the only character in this movie that can't kill.
I guess so.
Like, what does it matter? An old grandma is murdering people.
Well, it sounds like she has a past.
It's just funny too. Like, they should have written it differently because I don't think a hero should kill.
Yeah.
But it's like in this movie, there's a scene where he's blocking his family from being cold-blooded murdered, and then Kaji's like, "All right, let's kill him," and he's like, "We don't do that." I'm like, "What? You just had to block bullets from murdering, like slaughtering your entire family." And they still
have
their
the audience
guns on
would
you.
understand if you fought back.
Yeah, you just like shoot him really quick and then like move on. I mean that is like purely self-defense.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny. It's just like it's a little bit like, the thing that no hero does is kill people, so we just had to do it with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then he fights the bad guy in his own mech suit.
Yeah.
Guy is a transformer.
Yeah.
I thought that the fight stuff here was all pretty good. It should have been a lot worse,
Yeah.
for this kind of movie. But it was not that bad. And that's really all I have to say about it.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
People have since dropped off listening to this.
Well, and the other thing is that I was just seeing in my notes is we have in superhero movies, we've just completely given up on civilians living in any of these worlds.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's the main characters and there's the family. But again, I just think of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies where there's like a train full of people.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of like remember the faces of the people and stuff. And it's just like in these movies, it's just like faceless fight in a random place.
There's no representative of civilians.
Yeah.
Like there used to be. I feel like even in earlier Marvel movies, there always was.
Yeah, now it's just completely
sometimes
gone.
There still is, depending on the movie, I feel.
Yeah, but even...
Because I think in Guardians 3, they still do that. I mean, they are saving innocent lives.
Actually, Guardians 3 does it fine, yeah.
But
it does it well.
If you do think about it, like, yes, superheroes are saving still, no matter what the movie, but we often don't see the faces of the people they're saving anymore.
And we don't have, like, a beat to, like, understand it, I guess. It's just, that's what they do.
Yeah.
The story, kind of a thing. So I don't know.
I think that thing is that note is just it's been forgotten.
Yeah. Well, and I feel that way too when I read modern comics sometimes, where I'm like, there are so many heroes in New York. Is there anyone that is not a hero or affiliated with a hero?
So it's kind of like the John Wick situation.
Exactly.
Who's not an assassin?
Yeah, it's like there are no like real people that live in these worlds.
I know. If you think about it, you kind of can't think about it too hard.
Yeah.
Or maybe you should because it's kind of fun. But like I thought about this with the newest John Wick movie, which is perfect masterpiece.
Love it.
But he goes to another hotel in Japan.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is huge, this hotel. It's bigger than any of the other ones we've seen, besides maybe the one in Rome.
Right.
But it is like, this is for like over 1,000 people, thousands of people could probably stay in this hotel.
Yeah.
And that's just for assassins.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
What? That's crazy. It almost makes it almost like stands to reason that you and me, Joe Schmo people, middle class people, could hire an assassin at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Right. Yeah. It's just weird. It's
again though, John Wick 4 is perfect.
Yeah. John Wick, it works, but I think the point of a superhero is that they save civilians. So when you start losing that, I do think you kind of lose some connection with the audience.
Yeah.
And I know that in this movie there's the family and there's like the area they live in, but there's just not that.
Well, when the stuff was happening when they were raiding their house, we only saw the family. We didn't see how other people were being affected.
Yeah.
Or trying to help or trying not to help.
Yeah.
Because of there are some like nuances in this movie. You find out like early on in the movie when he first got Blue Beetle and they're like, well, we got to call the police. We got to do something about this. And I think George Lopez is like, we can't call the police. We're not like, you're not documented. You're not documented.
Yeah.
And if the police get involved, then we'll, huge ramifications for our family.
Yeah, which that's interesting.
Yeah. But they don't really, I think they maybe could have gotten into it more.
Right.
Maybe.
Well, I just think it's a thing. I mean, they do it okay in the Dark Knight movies, but I feel like the only person that has nailed that is Sam Raimi.
Sure.
Because there are characters in those movies that I remember as well as, like, the Green Goblin.
Well, they do it. That's why that's one of the reasons why The Dark Knight is one of the best superhero movies.
Yeah.
It's because Joker is forcing civilians to make decisions.
Yeah.
That will affect each other.
Yeah.
Life and death.
Yeah. So there
But
are.
it's like, when was the last time that happened?
There are faceless people, not faceless people. There are unnamed people, but you, like, when you watch the movie, you're like, that guy, that girl. Oh yeah. That, them, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just lacking. Put the masks back on and have some normal people in these movies.
Yeah.
But then Kaiju stops him from killing bad guy and shows him all of his memories, and we see how he was, you know, taken as a child by Cord and has all this tragedy.
He's
and
like a child soldier. And stuff.
And they spare him, and that's kind of nice. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
But then he kills Susan Sarandon
and himself.
Yeah, which is interesting. And then they go home. And then Jen Cord is like, I'm going to use this company for good.
When it's over, this fight and this battle and stuff, the grandma says, now we cry.
Yes, that
also,
was very good.
That it came back to that, and the movie ended on, they had just had the funeral for the dad. The community comes to, like, be with them. So they do pepper that in at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, then him and Jennifer fly off.
Yeah. Yeah, and the community does show up and help them. You said that?
Yeah, they pepper in it at the end.
Yeah, which made me feel good. I liked that. Yeah. And then there's like a mid-credit scene where it's like, I'm Blue Beetle, the original one, and you got to tell my daughter to come find me. And I was just like, we're setting up a movie right now? We already know that this is over.
Yeah.
But I guess it may be part of the non-canon DCEU.
I think that they throw in post-credit scenes at this point just in case they need it for later.
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
Yeah. Charles. Charles? Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Where are we at? How long is this?
I think we got to we're just barely over an hour.
Woo! Cool.
I think we can count it, right?
Yeah.
A fine episode for a fine movie.
Did you want to talk about the next series?
Oh, yeah, let's try and figure it out. So you wanted to cover My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah. We hardly cover romantic comedies, whatever. That's just not really a franchise thing.
Uh-huh.
So I thought there was a new one that just came out, or it's coming out.
It came out.
It came out. Can't be good. Impossible. Yeah. But it's still like, I don't know. We never cover movies like that.
I know.
Also, growing up, My Big Fat Greek Wedding was like a big movie for My
Big Fat Greek Wedding.
for my mom and sister and we watched it a lot. So I would be up for rewatching it. That's also part of it. I feel like I might have seen the second one time, but I have no memory.
Yeah.
But we have kind of been beaten to death with bad movies lately. That maybe it's not the right time to watch it.
I just think maybe we should wait.
Then what should we do instead?
Well, after that I had Oceans.
Yeah, so you think we should just bump it up?
Why don't we just do Oceans?
Just guaranteed bangers.
Because
a couple of them.
We have 3 guaranteed bangers.
Yeah.
And then we have one movie that
I've
seen
the third one. What's the third one about?
Third one is where Al Pacino has a casino.
Oh, then I've seen it because I remember Pacino.
And I love those movies. And those would be really fun to talk about.
Yeah.
They'll be fun to watch.
We talk about Soderbergh.
Yes. Yeah. And then we'll get to talk about that 4th movie, unfortunately. Although I haven't seen it. Maybe y'all like it. I doubt it.
Yeah.
Because the first 3 seem so singular.
But we can finally talk about George Clooney.
It's true. Well, we have done.
Oh, yeah, with
Batman. But
oh, right.
So you're okay with that?
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm okay with still covering it, but I just can't do it like this close again.
It's fine. I don't think we get George in a turtleneck in this series, but maybe I'm just not remembering it.
We get him in suits though.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
And we get Brad in a SWAT team outfit, and
that does it for you, him and a SWAT team.
No, it's more just that twist at the end of the first one, and you're like, no way.
Oh,
they pulled it off.
See, I've seen the first one a couple times, but it's like I never remember what happens.
Oh man,
so it's exciting.
It's always fun seeing, because the beauty of the heist is the whole movie they're just setting up dominoes. And you're like, all right. And then they pretend like all the dominoes fell over. And then the last 10 minutes, they're like, watch this. And they flick the dominoes. And the rest of the movie, you're just watching the dominoes fall. And you're like, Oh, I love movies.
Cool.
So let's flick some dominoes.
Great.
But next week, we're going to be finishing the DCEU with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom.
So the new franchise is just called DCU.
I guess, yeah.
So do you think that they immediately from day one made a mistake by calling it the extended universe when we didn't even have a universe yet
Yeah.
for it?
Well, I don't know why they had to do that, because I think they're thinking is like, well, there's the
Batman.
the Detective Comics universe, which is the comic books, and then there's the extended universe, which is the movies. But it's like, but it's like the Marvel. They just called it the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, you could have called it the. I think DC Universe is fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
Funny.
It's funny, and guess what, folks? Next week when we will be. I don't know. Maybe we should do something special where we end the series, because there will be. It's a new DC
How
series.
do you do something special?
I don't know. Like, we could play taps or something like that. I have a trumpet.
You have a trumpet?
Yeah.
Where?
It's in. I think it's in the garage.
Oh, I don't know.
But we could end it.
All I gotta say is orm.